Good morning and welcome you all to the CBC online classes. Today we are going to discuss about the second chapter of class 8 geography. The name of the chapter is land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife. And in the first video, that is the first part of this chapter, we have studied about land and soil, a detailed description about water, natural vegetation and wildlife, and we are going to study in this chapter. The third important resource for the existence of human being is water. Water is essential for the existence of life on earth. In 1975, the consumption of water for human use was 3,850 cubic kilometer per year, and it soared to more than 6,000 cubic kilometer per year in the year 2000. Water is a vital renewable natural resource. 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. It is therefore appropriately called the water planet. It was in the primitive oceans that life began almost 3.5 billion years back. Even today, the oceans cover 2/3 of the Earth's surface and support a rich variety of plant and animal life. The ocean water is, however, saline and not fit for human consumption. Fresh water accounts for about 2.7%. There is plenty of water on earth, but only 2.7% of water is fresh water. Nearly 70% of this fresh water occurs as ice sheets and glaciers in Antarctica, Greenland, and other mountain regions. Due to their location, they are inaccessible. Only 1% of fresh water is available and fit for human use. It's found as groundwater, as surface water in rivers and lakes, and as water vapor in the atmosphere. Fresh water is therefore considered as the most precious substance on earth. We know water can neither be added nor subtracted from the earth. Its total volume remains constant. Its abundance only seems to vary because it is in the constant motion, cycling through the oceans, the air, the land, and back again through the processes of evaporation, precipitation, and runoff. This, as you already know, is referred to as the water cycle. The availability of water over the earth's surface is not same. There are some areas are having plenty of water, and there are some areas are having water scarcity. For example, most of Africa, West Asia, South Asia, parts of Western USA, Northwest Mexico, parts of South America, and entire Australia are facing shortages in fresh water supply. Countries located in climatic zones are also facing the problem of water scarcity. And this water shortage may be a consequence of variations in seasonal or annual precipitation, or the scarcity is caused by overexploitation and contamination of water sources. Overexploitation, contamination, and the scarcity of water resources raises the necessity to conserve water resources. Access to clean and adequate water sources is a major problem facing the world today. Therefore, steps should be taken to conserve this dwindling resource. Even though water is a renewable resource, its overuse and pollution make it unfit for use. Discharge of untreated or partially treated sewage, agricultural chemicals, and industrial effluents in water bodies are major contaminants. They pollute water with nitrates, metals, and pesticides. Most of these chemicals, being non-biodegradable, reach human bodies through water. Water pollution can be controlled by treating these effluents suitably before releasing them in water bodies. So how can we protect water? How can we conserve water resources? This is one of the most important problem and the question faced by almost all countries of the world. Look at these points. These are some of the important points adopted by the different countries of the world to protect water. Water pollution can be controlled by treating these effluents, industrial effluents, suitably before releasing them in water bodies. Forests and other vegetation cover slow the surface runoff and replenish underground water. Therefore, water harvesting is another method to save surface runoff. Water is used for irrigating fields. The canals should be properly lined to minimize losses by water seepage. Sprinklers effectively irrigate the area by checking water losses through seepage and evaporation. In dry regions with high rates of evaporation, drip or trickle irrigation is very useful. The valuable water resources can therefore be conserved by adopting these means of conservation. Next important resource is natural vegetation and wildlife. It is also known as flora and fauna. In short, it is plants and animals. Vegetation and wildlife are valuable resources. There are innumerable uses of plants and animals. Wildlife includes animals, birds, insects, as well as aquatic life forms. They provide us milk, meat, hides, and wool. Insects like bees provide us honey, help in pollination of flowers, and have an important role to play as decomposers in the ecosystem. The birds feed on insects and act as decomposers as well. So animals, big or small, and all are integral to maintaining balance of the ecosystem. Natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in the narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere that we call biosphere. It is a narrow zone where life exists. In the biosphere, living beings are interrelated and interdependent on each other for survival. This life supporting system is known as ecosystem. The distribution of natural vegetation and wildlife is uneven all over the world. Why this distribution is uneven? Because the growth of natural vegetation and wildlife depends primarily on two factors, that is temperature and moisture. Wherever these two factors are favorable, that areas are blessed with more natural vegetation and wildlife. Based on the availability of temperature, moisture, and rainfall, the major vegetation types of the world are grouped as forests, grasslands, scrubs, and tundra vegetation. The countries having more forest cover are blessed with more animal species. Nowadays, almost all countries of the world are facing the problem of the depletion of natural vegetation and wildlife. There may be many reasons for this depletion of natural vegetation and wildlife. Changes of climate and human interferences can cause the loss of natural habitats for the plants and animals. Many species have become vulnerable or endangered, and some are on the verge of extinction. There may be many factors, and all these factors can be grouped under two heads. One is human factors and another is natural factors. Deforestation, soil erosion, construction activities, forest fires, tsunami, and landslides are some of the human-made and natural factors which together accelerate the process of extinction of these great natural resources. The animals are poached for collection and illegal trade of hides, skins, nails, teeth, horns, as well as feathers. These are the factors that causes the depletion of natural vegetation and wildlife. Here comes the problem of the protection of natural vegetation and wildlife, because we the human beings are getting many things from plants and animals. How can we protect natural vegetation and wildlife? There is a balance in the environment if the relative number of species is not disturbed. Due to indiscriminate killing, several birds and animals have either become extinct or are on the verge of extinction. Many countries have passed laws declaring that the trades as well as killing of birds and animals are illegal. Conservation of plants and animals is an ethical duty of every citizen. National parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves are made to protect our natural vegetation and wildlife. Conservation of creeks, lakes, and wetlands is necessary to save the precious resources from depletion. Awareness programs like social forestry and Vana Mahotsava should be encouraged at the regional and community level. School children should be encouraged for bird watching and visiting nature camps so that they can appreciate the habitat of varied species. In short, conservation of plants and animal is an ethical duty of every citizen. These are the important points and content from the second chapter of class 8 geography. The question answers of this chapter we will discuss in our next video. Thank you all.